In your opinion, what are justifiable reasons to go to war? Can you have a couple minutes to answer? Picture yourself as a president, leader of a country. What would drive you to go to war? One or two good reasons. No right or wrong answers. You can borrow a reason from a previous learning. Like I said, no right or wrong answer. Arlette, in your opinion, what are justifiable reasons to go to war? Derechos de las personas, human rights. Respecting human rights. That's a good one. Anyone else? Yes?
They attack me first.
If they attack you first, if they invade, that's a really good one. You know, conquering, we've seen presidents go to war, leaders to conquer more land, consider imperialism. Good. Other common answers I've seen, you know, to defend your allies. That's a good one for World War I. Is that in the back? Yes? The pay? That's good. Really good answer. Let's see what else you guys say. Territories, self-defense, treason, assassination, like we learned about Franz Ferdinand, right? They assassinate your leader. Really good answers, guys. Once you guys are done, let's close those computers. We're gonna get right into our notes. You need a notebook and a pencil. You guys will have access to the presentation. If you're in the back, you can't see well, or if you can't catch up with the slides, you'll be able to write it yourself. So the reason for that initial question, because today we're going to learn about the U.S. involvement in World War I. Lately, we've just been learning about what's been going on in Europe. There are reasons. And now we're going to know, how does the U.S. get involved in this war? So let's title our notes, A Global Conflict, World War I, Cornell style. Let's get right into it. The war affects the world. We have the Gallipoli campaign. This was a way for the Allies to try to strike the Ottoman Empire. Remember, the Ottoman Empire is a central power. So the Allies moved to capture the Ottoman Dardanelles straight in February 1915 to hope to defeat them. The Allies want to open a supply line through the region to Russia, but this effort ends in an Allied defeat. So they were unsuccessful. You can see here on the bottom, you have the Ottoman Empire. That's where the battle took place. They were trying to get through here to eventually get to Constantinople. This battle was something they had been planning with the British and the French before World War I. But right now, with the outbreak of the war, this was the perfect time to carry out that plan. So there was also battles in Africa and Asia. The Allies took control of German holdings in Asia and Africa. Britain and France used their colonial subjects to help in the war effort. If you guys remember from previous lessons of imperialism, each of these countries all had sections in Africa that they owned. So they began using them as soldiers. You can see in that picture, we have a line of African soldiers, most likely being led by a French or a British commander there. So not only were their home people involved, their colonial subjects, the people they ruled over were also involved in this war. Little reminder, just copy what's underlined for important information. Once you're done copying, please drop your pencil so I can see that we can continue. Couple more seconds. Let's continue. So America joins the war. Most of America is isolationist. Isolationist meaning they're away from the conflict, not choosing a side. President Wilson campaigns on keeping America out of war. And while this is going on, Germany is seeking control of the Atlantic Ocean to stop supplies to Britain. They were determined to stop any kinds of boats carrying supplies to Britain, supporting them for the war effort. Germany was taking those boats out. While all that's going on, the United States was left out of it. Reluctant to join. Here in a little cartoon, we have President Wilson sitting on a rock saying strict neutrality, kind of in a thinking pose, and wondering to join or not. Remember, wars could be costly. You don't want to sacrifice American troops for essentially a European war. That was their conflict. Seconds. So, the sinking of the Lusitania. This is reason number one for the United States entering World War I. So Germany declared unrestricted submarine warfare, meaning they'll sink any British ship without warning. The Lusitania, a British ship, was sunk by a German U-boat in 1915. This resulted in 1,098 British passing away and 128 Americans. They were on board this ship. Renews unrestricted policy in 1917, hopes to starve Britain quickly. So Germany, seeing all these ships as a threat, he was just firing at all of them. And in one of those, he fired at an innocent ship with Americans on board. So really quick, by a raise of hands, if you're President Wilson, with this happening, is this enough to enter the war? Raise your hand. A few people. Some of us still aren't convinced. again, emphasize on your notes, this is reason number 1, the sinking of the Lusitania. Let's continue. So we have a little description, a little image. Lusitania on the left, the German U-boat on the bottom right, firing a torpedo, taking it out, along with those Americans. It made headlines. Here we have a little cartoon. We have President Wilson on the left, Zimmerman, German leader, on the right, and it reads, "In the name of humanity, I want you to stop your submarine warfare." To which Zimmerman replies, "In the name of humanity, I want you to stop the sale of ammunition." You see the boats they're heading across the Atlantic, bringing ammunition and blowing them up. But that wasn't the case with the Lusitania. There was innocent people on that ship, 128 Americans. Reason number 2, the Zimmerman telegram. This was a secret message that Germany sent to Mexico, offering him an alliance, and in return, he was going to give back all the territories that used to belong to Mexico. If you guys remember, a lot of the southwestern region of the United States was once Mexico's, until USA took it. So we promised Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas in this telegram. And this caused an outrage in the United States. So 128 Americans losing their lives on the Lusitania. And 2, you find out Germany wants Mexico to join, promising them the lands that were once theirs. 2 big reasons. Once again, raise your hand. Knowing these 2 reasons now, is this enough for Wilson to join the war? A lot more hands down. So what started out as America keeping to themselves, not wanting to get involved, you find out the Germans sink the Lusitania, lose American lives. Now you find out they want Mexico to join. 2 big reasons, the sinking and the telegram. Couple more seconds. Let's move on. So here we have the coded message that Germany sent to Mexico. Here's the actual message, which you guys will be reading in a little bit. Here we have a quote: "The world must be made safe for democracy. Its peace must be planted upon the tested foundations of political liberty." So like we said, this was the final straw, the Zimmerman telegram. April 1917, Congress declares war. Made headlines everywhere. Now at this point, the government moves into what we call total war. The nation's devoting all their resources towards the war. All their factories, all their production, it's going to be war related. That's why it says total war. All your emphasis, all your focus, all your energy going straight to the war. Total. Government makes control of the economy to produce war goods. Nations turn to rationing, limiting purchases of war-related goods. This could be the people, not buying as much food, as much clothes, as we later on see in World War II. That's a good example of rationing. You limit yourself so that the soldiers could have plenty. On the bottom, we have an example of propaganda. One-sided information to build morale, support for the war. Who can tell me what this person represents there with the hat? America. What do they call him, that person right there? He represents America, but he has a specific name. I'll give you a little guess. The initials are U and S.
Uncle Sam?
Uncle Sam, correct. So that's Uncle Sam. Whenever you hear someone say, Uncle Sam's got my back, Uncle Sam's taking my money, United States. It says there on the poster, I want you for the U.S. Army. This is to get people to enlist, to show support in any which way they can. Propaganda. You know, you see these on buildings, kind of like advertising, getting people to sign up. Fuel that patriotism. Women were also part of the effort. At home, thousands of women filled jobs previously held by men. And a lot of them went to the war as nurses. So with all the men gone, women had to take over those factory jobs. And they also went off to be nurses. Help those wounded in battle. The main takeaways from here is the total war. Nations devoting all their resources and knowing they use propaganda, like Uncle Sam here, to get people to enlist. So here we have an example of a World War I draft card. Sign up to go get shipped off. That being said, who remembers what was going on in Russia during this time? This was in our previous lesson. A revolution, correct. Civil unrest in Russia forced the Tsar to step down from the throne in 1917. Communists soon took control of Russia's government, eventually signing a peace treaty with Germany in March 1918, pulling out of the war. So now Germany's done with the Eastern Front. Remember, we have two fronts, Russia on the east. They have a revolution, sign a treaty. Now they send all their focus, their troops to the west. But who are we also meeting from the west? France, but across the ocean, which troops are we bringing in? We just declared war. The USA. Now, the French and British have roughly been in the trenches for 3 years. How was the life in the trenches? Horrible, right? Imagine 3 years of that. 3 years of not really gaining any ground, living with the rats, the trench foot. Now you have fresh American troops. Okay, they weren't doing nothing for those 3 years. They come in fresh. That builds the confidence of the British. They bring in their resources, the tanks, weapons, and this gives them the upper hand, causing the Central Powers to collapse. So there was major fighting going on, forcing the Germans to retreat. The Allies win the war, an armistice signed in November 9th. And World War I officially ends November 11th of 1918. So with one leaving, Russia backing out, then they have to meet the U.S. in the West. Once you've done copying what's underlined, make a line across. We have question time. There'll be 3 questions. So get that prepared. So quick little summary. America was isolationist. They don't want no part of it. You get the sinking of the Lusitania, Zimmerman telegram. Wilson is obligated to go into war now. By the time they go in, Russia's backed out. And with the boost of morale and resources, weapons, they eventually defeated Germany. Let's move on to the questions. Here we go, we see some people getting ready to go to war by the truckload. Here are the questions. So take some time, go through your notes. What were the two main reasons why the U.S. joined the war? World War I. What does the term total war mean? And what is that picture an example of? You may discuss with your partner. I'll call on 3 of you shortly. Matthew, can you answer number 1? The 2 main reasons why the United States joined World War I. So the first one, the sinking of the boat, Lusitania. What was your second one? The message, the telegram? Correct. Zimmerman telegram. Sinking of the Lusitania, remember it had 128 American passengers. And the Zimmerman telegram, which was a secret message from Germany to Mexico, trying to convince them to be an ally by giving them the old territories. Anna, what does total war mean? All national efforts go to the war. Perfect. All production, all the resources going to the war, and the public had to come back too, so that the soldiers across the Atlantic would have enough. Annabelle, what is that example of? What was that? Yeah, okay. No. Who can help Annabelle? Yes. Propaganda. Excellent. Way to boost morale, get people to support the war. Propaganda. Once you guys are done with that, remember if you didn't get all the notes, you have them posted in the Google Classroom. So right now, let me run by you the assignment. It should be assigned, just refresh your page. So here on the link to the left is going to be more information on the sinking of the Lusitania, and on the right we're going to have the Zimmerman telegram. So for the sinking of the Lusitania, I want you to be able to answer these questions here. Who was involved? What happened? When did it happen? Where did it happen? And how? Because I want you guys to get a little creative here. Make a little news article about it. We gotta answer those 5 questions. Remember, it's a news story, so we want the whole scope of it. In the middle, we're gonna have an image, and on the left and right, type in that information. You know, you can get creative with how you tell the story, the event. After that, we're gonna read the Zimmerman telegram, and we're gonna answer who sent it, who was it to, and the message it conveyed, right here in the middle. In the bottom, we're gonna type in the effect it had on World War I, which we previously discussed. It eventually led President Woodrow Wilson north. After that, we have some key terms. We're gonna write the definition, paste an image. And before you guys leave, we do have an exit ticket. This will be the final check. So in 2 to 3 sentences, explain why the United States entered World War I. So after you complete your assignment, make sure you get this done before you leave. Any questions? I'll be walking up and down helping. I don't mind you working with your partner to help each other out.
This who was involved?
But like the country.
So, during something, there was